Hey, what's up everyone? So today in this video, I'm gonna teach you guys 5 ways that are gonna help you keep your hands up. And we're starting right now. All right, in the first method that I'm gonna teach you guys how to keep your hands up is gonna be using a towel. Okay, so we're gonna use the towel, fold it, and keep it nice and tucked in against your cheek. And then from here, all I'm gonna do is place my rear hand, which is the cross, nice and snug against it. So as you can notice right now, what this does is make sure that I leave my hand in a proper position. And now you guys can start shadow boxing and using punches with your lead hand, okay? So wherever you're going, you're gonna have to make sure that your rear hand never drops. And what this will train is that a lot of times when people start to shadow box, do Thai pads, even spar, they're gonna start to drop their rear hand. Okay, so what I mean by this is what you'll see. They'll throw the left jab and drop, and drop, and drop, and drop. And this hand is always dropping. And then once you start to spar against a very savvy opponent, they're gonna start to read you and then find that rhythm and catch you when you drop your hand. Okay, so this exercise, super efficient, super simple, it doesn't cost a dime. Grab an old piece of towel that you have at home, stick it at your chin and start shadow boxing. That's gonna help you out. Now, using the towel once again. If you are one of those guys or girls that starts to spar and you have your hands up like this, your elbows are flaring out, you gotta make sure to keep everything a little bit more tucked in. So you can use the piece of towel once again and keep it right underneath your armpit as such. And then from here, you'll have a better position. And when you start shadow boxing, obviously only with your lead hand and moving around, once you start flaring, you drop the towel. So in this next method, what I'm using is a pair of hand wraps tied up together. I attach this to one extremity on a post and obviously going all the way down to the opposite side of another post. What this is going to do is represent the same height as someone attacking me with a straight or curved punch, where it's a looping hook, an overhand right, left or right straight, left hook, right hook, or even the uppercuts, okay? This is the height where they're gonna actually aim at, where your chin is. What I'm going to do is make sure that my hand stays, just like the towel drill, my hand stays nice and snug against my cheek, okay? So it's very important to start to walk. I'm gonna start to walk as such, okay? It doesn't need to be fast. The idea is the whole time you're always feeling the hand wrap onto your hands. And obviously if we're gonna do it on the opposite side, it's gonna be the same drill. I'm just walking and always maintaining focus on keeping the rope against my hand. Okay, this is the easy part. Now, I'm gonna start to move with this, okay? So what I'm gonna do is keep the hand against the rope like this. But now I need to duck under punches. So I'm gonna bob and weave and then bring this hand up. So I'm walking and then bobbing and weaving left to right, left to right. Okay, and then the same thing when I start to back out. I step a few times, bob and weave, and keep the hands up. Now every time I do this, I'm training my hands to stay in the proper position, proper height. Now I'm gonna teach you guys something super important. When you start to duck underneath punches, every time I bob and weave, I have to have my opposite side up, and I'll teach you why. Facing the camera, if you guys throw a left hook at my face from this angle, and I duck underneath that punch, the proper positioning will be for you guys to throw the right hand coming on this side. So I have to have this hand up. And the same goes for the opposite side. If you're throwing an overhand right and I duck under this one, the next punch coming at me is going to be your left hook. And this is the side I want to cover. That being said, when I start to use this drill, I understand what's going on. When I bob and weave, this hand's coming up. Bob and weave, and so on and so forth, okay? And when I back out, it's gonna be the same exercise. I bob and weave, and I start to move, and I know that every time I'm ducking, that the opposite side is always up. All right, this next drill I'm gonna teach you guys is using this type of ball. This one weighs about 5 or 6 pounds. It's great for developing muscular endurance in your shoulders. By doing so, you're gonna teach yourself to keep your hands up, okay? The exercise itself is known as the Jack Dempsey drill. For those of you who don't know, Jack Dempsey was a legendary boxer from the 1920s, also known as the Manasseh Mauler. Okay? So for you guys who are boxing historians, Jack Dempsey was one of the most aggressive and feared fighters in his time, also known as one of the most brutal fighters of all time. He used to do this drill back then with sandbags. Okay? So all you're going to do is keep your hands up like this and then start throwing the ball in the air. And you're going to go from left to right, but every time you catch, make sure not to drop your hands. Okay? So your hands always have to stay in the proper position where you're going to be fighting. So you can do this exercise for 2 to 3 minutes at a time for as many rounds as you wish. Trust me, don't take too heavy, because as you're doing the repetitions, you'll start to feel it burning into your shoulders and you'll wish you had taken lighter. And that's the Jack Dempsey drill. So in this next method, I'm going to show you how you can use an elastic band to train your hands to stay up high. Okay? So in this case, you can use an exercise band, resistance bands. I'm just using an old tubing from a bicycle. This is going to give me enough tension for the drill. So all you're going to do is attach it against the post and make sure that it stays attached at shoulder height. Very important. Now, once I'm here, what I'm going to do is start striking with my hands up, and you can also loop it like this. Okay? Loop it around your hand. Now, when I'm ready, I'm going to start throwing my punches left to right. Now, if you notice, every time I'm stretching one, the other hand has to stay in position, and opposite stays in position. Okay, so when I start shadow boxing from left to right, the elastic band is going to start to pull my hands back into position, and I can't really cheat this motion. Okay, on top of it, it's going to give you a really good workout, which you'll start feeling in your shoulders, your core, midsection, and triceps. Okay, so just keep doing this for a set amount of time, and that'll teach you to always bring your hands back up. So use an elastic band, super efficient, very cheap, to keep your hands up. So in this next method, we're going to start shadow boxing in front of a mirror. Okay, so I'm going to keep my hands up and start throwing my punches. And there's no need to go super fast. The idea is to always watch and making sure your hands come back into a proper position. Okay, so what I'm going from left to right, right to left, always making sure one hand stays up and never starting to drop. I'll make a few mistakes here so you guys can see. It's actually difficult now to start seeing where I drop my punches. Okay. One of the most common mistakes is when people throw the jab cross hook and it'll look like this. See what just happened? Most common mistake ever. Okay, so now train yourselves. Jab cross hook. See this? That's where I want it. Now, of course, there are more methods that you can use. When you're shadow boxing, during your training session, when you're working the focus mitts with a good certified trainer, they're going to let you know when you drop your hands. Every time I train my students doing focus mitts or Thai pads, trust me, they know if they drop their hands, because I'm going to smack them, let them know to keep their hands up. Okay, that's very important. When you train your heavy bag, you got to focus and mentally know that every time you're training, every punch that is thrown, your hands in the proper position to, number one, defend and then counter. So if your hands are low at your waistline, you're not in a good position to counter. So always make sure that when you shadow box, do heavy bag, focus mitts, or Thai pads, that you keep your hands up at all times. And last but not least, of course, the number one most effective method to make sure that you always keep your hands up is essentially sparring. Okay, so obviously this video was intended to show you a couple of methods and exercises that you can do to train yourself to always keep your hands nice and high. But sparring is obviously the ultimate way to make sure your hands are in a proper position, because every time you drop, you have a good fighter in front of you, they're gonna pop you and you'll know your hands were low. All right guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to this channel for more content coming at you as well. Keep your hands up and we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Now, just for you guys for watching the video till the end, I'm going to show you a very secret bonus method to make sure you train your shoulders to keep your hands up, okay? So what you're gonna do is use a towel, just like the first technique. Use a towel, fold it in half, fold it again, put it into your palm. Spray bottle in the other hand. Stance, wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. And you can even add some footwork to it. Side shuffling, side stepping, wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. Secret stuff, guys. See you in the next video. Take care.